So the phone conversation ends. I end up on a ward. I'm in Germany. I'm talking to the Marine across from me. His name's Corporal Sean Talbert. I said, Corporal Sean, I said, we got to get up. We can't just lay here in these racks. I mean, I said, I may not know much else in life, but I know get up when I've been knocked down. I said, we got to get up. We just lay here. We ain't going to get no better. He says, oh, and I was blind at the time. He says, I can't walk, Gunny. I said, okay. He'd been hit by a grenade as well, only in the lower body. I said, can you see? He said, yeah, I can see. I said, okay, stand by. So I got a wheelchair. I put Sean in the wheelchair. I was his legs and he was my eyes. So we used a team to make the world a little bit bigger. So life was getting better. Then I got moved to Bethesda Naval Hospital. I got moved back stateside. Now when I got to Bethesda, my roommate was completely deaf and I was completely blind. This wasn't as easy as the me and Sean thing. This wasn't as simple as a wheelchair no more. So, so I didn't know a thing about this guy. I didn't know anything about him. And a voice comes in, because in Bethesda, you're right next to the nation's capital. You get lots of high-level visitors and all that stuff when you're in the hospital there. So a voice speaks out of the darkness to me and says, the assistant commandant, that's a 4-star general, he says, assistant commandant's going to come in and visit you too. I said, very well, we'll be here. Where the heck are we going to be? We ain't going nowhere, so we're there. And he comes in, he says, how you doing, Gunny? I said, good, sir, because I'm a gunny. Gunnies don't whine. I could have been bleeding out of my jugular. Good, sir. No problem. So then he moves on to this Marine next to me, the deaf guy. And they're talking to him via notes. So how you doing, Marine? He says, good, sir. He's a corporal. He's not going to whine either. Good, sir. So he's good. And this he says, how'd you get wounded? His name was Corporal Ortiz. And this is a story that came out of his mouth. This guy didn't know anything about him. He was an infantryman. He was over there in Iraq. They were on patrol, all relatively routine things. A Marine in his squad got shot by a sniper in the leg. Not killed, but just wounded in the leg. But he was immobile. He couldn't walk anymore. He couldn't continue on the patrol route, so they got to work up a medevac because we don't leave nobody behind. So they just go static while they're waiting for this medevac to come pick this guy up. While they're waiting for that, a grenade comes and lands 10 feet, like from me to the far side of that table from that wounded Marine. Everybody else is completely safe, except for the one guy who can't move, because he's got the bolt in his leg, so he can't run. He's just stuck there. Ortiz, who's in a safe place, is perfectly safe where he's at, but that's not who he is. So he runs out there to this guy's aid, but he's smart. So he knocks him down flat to the ground, so he's a small silhouette for this impending grenade blast. He turns him to make a small silhouette, puts the body armor so it's max effect towards this grenade blast, and then lays on him to protect him with his own body. Crazy life-saving stuff. Now, the only thing hanging out is Ortiz's own face and neck, because there's only so much body armor, he just can't protect everything. He figures, well, I'm just going to take one for the team. And he waits for that grenade to fuse out. While he's waiting, that wounded Marine, the one he's laying on, wrestles his arm free from Ortiz, who's trying to hold him down, and covers up Ortiz's face and neck with his own arm. Grenade goes off. There's Ortiz, deaf, full of shrapnel, but alive in the rack next to me. The general says, oh my God, Marine, that's an amazing story. What happened to the other guy? He said, he's right over there. The hospital will absolutely humble you. I was humbled every day at the caliber of American that I just had the privilege of just being in the presence of. And I would say that also it's something else of living in this nation. As we are surrounded by so much greatness on such a regular basis that sometimes we get in the jeopardy that we stop noticing. And I would say, if nothing else, if you leave this talk today, leave it with that. Today when you walk around, take an extra special look at the people around you and notice how much greatness you are surrounded by every day. And once again, don't be the dummy like me. Don't wait to get hit in the head with a grenade before you start noticing. So there's Ortiz. Now, the hospital things move fast, so these 3 young guys come find me. They said, hey, you're a gunny, right? I said, yeah, I'm a gunny. They said, you probably like coffee then. That's a little stereotype about Marines, but it's true in my case. I said, yeah, I love coffee. They said, we're going to go get some. You want to come with? I said, sure. So they become my C&I Marine, and they take me through Hill and Dale, and we go get this coffee for 3 days in a row. Now, I got to give you a little backstory here, just so you kind of get a little picture in your head. When you get wounded, everything gets cut off you. So you don't have no more uniform anymore. You just got hospital garb. I probably got my backside hanging out and all that stuff. I got stitches in my head, so I can't cut my hair. So I got this whole chia pet hair thing going on top of my head. I got sutures in my face, so I can't shave. So I got the Chuck Norris beard, chia pet hair, full of sutures, missing eye, butt hanging out, and So I'm not a good-looking guy at this point. I'm looking like anything but a United States Marine Corps gunny. Now, these 3 guys who come get me every day, I can't see them. I'm still completely blind, but I have to assume they look just as bad. They're probably missing limbs, but I don't want to ask them. You know, I can't see it. It's bad coffee talk. Hey, man, what's blown off you? You know, you don't want to ask that. So I have to assume they're missing limbs if they've been medevac this far. And now, if you're not smart like me, when you're laying blind in a hospital bed, your mind has a lot of time to wander. And I started thinking, these 3 guys, they're young. They're like privates. They don't like coffee that much. They're feeling sorry for me. They're taking the gunny for a walk every day. That's what they're doing. Now, I'm a gunny. I'm supposed to be in charge of them. So I got mad at them. And I'm thinking, nobody's going to pity the gunny. And I'm sitting there, I'm working myself up into this little bit of rage over these 3 guys doing this very cool thing for me. And so the next day, so I got my whole game plan. I'm gonna chew them out. I'm going to light them up the next day because nobody's going to pity the gunny. That was a little gymnastics I'd done in my mind while I was laying there. But I wanted the coffee, so I let them take me there first. So I got there. And then when we got down to that coffee spot, I started chewing them out. I started lighting into them. I started yelling at them. And I got the first sentence out, and they started laughing. I could feel their breath hit me. They were belly aching laughing. They said, no, Gunny. They said, no, cease fire, cease fire. You got it all wrong. They said, this is where the chicks hang out. We just thought you'd like the coffee, so we bring you along. They were down there picking up girls, was what they were trying to do. So I made a mental picture of how they must look. And I thought, okay, I don't know how good you're going to do with the girls. Good luck, good hunting, and I'll see you tomorrow for the coffee. But they had it figured out right from the beginning. They knew something that the gunny didn't. They had it all figured out right from the beginning. They knew they were the exact same people they were before they got hit. Before they got limbs blown off them, before they got their lives changed in that way. They knew nothing changed. They knew they had the exact same character traits, the exact same success, exact same weird things like trying to pick up girls looking like that. They knew nothing had changed. They knew it instinctively. The gunny was going to take a little bit longer to figure that one out. I ended up getting medevac from there to Balboa Hospital out in San Diego, very near my home. I was reunited with my wife, my kids. I went to see the first doctor there because now I couldn't conceive. I was still completely blind. I couldn't conceive any life other than getting my old life back. Other than getting back on that tank, over helping oppress people, become free, all these things I loved doing in my life. I couldn't conceive any other path for my life to be on. I went to see the first doctor. First doctor looked at my remaining eye and said, get used to a gunny. You're going to be blind for the rest of your life. And I said, okay, I can do that. That's a 0-400 moment. This is 0-400 moment stuff. I'll figure out whatever the heck it is blind guys do. I'll get to be the best in the world at. I can do this. So then I went to see the next doctor. The next doctor looked in the same eye and said, I don't know, Gunny, it's all full of blood. For all the more I know, it may come back 100%. I said, all right, forget all that blind best in the world crap. Second doctor, you're my doctor. Let's go to work. Well, the truth was somewhere in between. What had happened is I'd had a piece of shrapnel about the size of a 7.62 projectile, about half the size of your little finger, had entered my right temple. It went all the way through. It went through my skull in 4 places. That's what blew my right eye out. Went through my nose and ended up behind my left eye. You've heard me talk for about 20 minutes now. You realize if I had more brains, it wouldn't have made it so far. I'd be able to see just fine. But there it was. It was sitting behind my left eye. It damaged my retina and my optic nerve going through there. So a doctor said, I'm going to do a surgery on that. And what they did was they took CAT scans of my head. They put an anchor bolt in my head like Frankenstein. Then they took CAT scans like a road map. They drilled a hole through my jaw up through the bottom. With a remote camera, they grabbed this piece of shrapnel and pulled it out through the bottom. They filled the whole thing in with this like skull bondo stuff. And all I know is I woke up and I could see. I used to, yeah, absolutely.